A lot of people, they ask me after I've performed, they come up to me and they ask, hey, you didn't look nervous at all up there. Wow, how do you do it? Or do you still get nervous, or do you still get...
On one of the largest venues in the world, she sang her way into the hearts of millions of people. But it was just the beginning. Recall the little powerhouse with the radiant smile and increased the voice of gold? The one who moved audiences to tears and made judges stand up. Since Angelica Hale's initial shocking performance on America's Got Talent, years have gone by, and while some child stars become forgotten, others develop into something completely different. However, what transpired once the cheers subsided? How far has she come since that jaw-dropping conclusion, and where has her voice taken her? You may believe you are familiar with her story. However, even her most ardent admirers were taken aback by one chapter. Prepared to follow the journey of a young girl who is creating something greater rather than merely pursuing her ambitions. The battle for Angelica Hale's life. Angelica Hale's bicultural identity, as a fundamental component of her artistic and personal identity, has always been her Filipino-American heritage. Her ideals of resilience and family are frequently evident. Angelica enchanted her family from a young age with her innate ability to sing and act. With spontaneous home performances, it became clear that she loved music and had a lively personality. Long before she appeared on any significant stage. But her early years took a very different turn when she was diagnosed with a rare bacterial infection that progressed to double pneumonia at the age of 4. Sepsis was the result of the infection, a serious illness that led to the shutdown of her kidneys and other organs. Angelica was put in a coma that was medically induced and needed life support from extracorporeal membrane oxygenation, ECMO, assistance in order to live. Hemodialysis and peritoneal dialysis were both part of her treatment. And her body fought one of the most important battles of her life when she was in the hospital for more than 80 days. After stabilizing, Angelica was released. However, until she received a replacement kidney, she was unable to avoid dialysis. Because her mother, Eva, was ideally matched to give her a kidney, she had experienced a life-saving gesture of love. And she underwent surgery. In September 2013, the transplant was successful, and Angelica was released from her never-ending dialysis cycle. This marked the start of a protracted process of both mental and physical healing. It also marked the beginning of a new chapter in her life and the revival of her health. Additionally, it shaped Angelica's perspective on life and served as the catalyst for her advocacy mania. In addition to her vocal support of the Sepsis Alliance and Children's Miracle Network hospitals, she served as the first child ambassador for the National Kidney Foundation. This inspirational tale of overcoming severe medical odds has served as a beacon of hope for several families facing comparable challenges. By means of public speaking, charity performances, and health campaigns, Angelica keeps supporting the groups and causes that helped save her life. Nobody realized that her greatest gift was going to be revealed, where she nearly lost everything. Finding out about her love of singing. Angelica's passion for music started in a hospital bed, not with celebrity. In the course of the music served as her emotional haven at the worst of her illness. Her parents frequently remember how, even throughout excruciating medical procedures, she would sing to cheer herself up. It was through this constant display of bravery and hope, Angelica learned that music was more than just amusement, it was therapeutic. Her father's phone recorded and uploaded her first tracks to YouTube, where they started to attract admirers who were inspired by her ability and boldness. Whitney Houston was a major source of inspiration for her. When she first heard Greatest, Angelica found great resonance in the lyrics of Love of All, and she started mimicking Houston's voice. Methods. She was able to comprehend and communicate the song's emotional impact even at a young age. she sang. Her relationship with music not only improved her singing skills but also strengthened her emotional intelligence, which would later become her defining characteristic on stage. The legacy of Whitney became a beacon of hope for her goals. In honor of this dedication, Angelica, shortly after her recovery, her parents enrolled her in professional vocal lessons. She began performing at neighborhood charity events after receiving instruction from Atlanta's top vocal teachers, foundation galas, and senior residences. Her early engagements included the Make-A-Wish Foundation ball as well as at U.S. She got a sense of important public events from the Open Men's semifinals. These were among the first events that gave her self-assurance and a feeling of stage presence, even prior to her national television audition. Music evolved into much more than a pastime. Angelica was the cause. She has claimed that her passion for music supported her during the psychological trauma brought on by her illness. Then, every performance turned into a victory over hardship, with that tale touching the hearts of admirers who had witnessed a lot more than a girl who had struggled to survive was standing there with a skill. This initial voyage served solid evidence that Angelica completely accepted the idea that music served as a bridge between suffering and recovery. During the 2017 season of America's Got Talent, Angelica Hale dazzled when she appeared on the America's Got Talent stage in Season 12. She won over both judges and viewers. She performed a heartfelt version of Andrade's Rise Up at the age of 9, moving many in the audience to tears. Her account of conquering a potentially fatal she immediately stood out as a contender due to her condition and voice maturity. Howie Mandel, Heidi Klum, Mel B., and Simon Cowell, the judges, were clearly moved, sending her earned unanimous acclaim, moving on to the next round. When it came to the Judge Cuts round, Angelica, Girl on Fire, by Alicia Keys, is a suitable song for her own journey. Her dominant performance attracted the attention of Chris Hardwick, the guest judge, who was so impressed that he gave Angelica the golden buzzer, which propelled her straight to the live performances. It was an emotionally charged occasion. Rushed, solidifying her place as the clear favorite to win, and placing her among the youngest ever to win the most sought-after buzzer in AGT history. Angelica's artistic development coincided with her advancement in the contest. Zed's performance of Clarity in the quarterfinals, and she easily earned those standings thanks to David Guetta's performance of Without You in the semifinals. Applause. With Clean Bandit and Zara Larsson's Symphony during the finals, the stage was entirely hers. Then performed Stronger, What Doesn't Kill You with fellow finalist Kelly Clarkson. Okwichi Ketchi. Every time, she not only displayed her full vocal range, but she had an emotional connection to those songs that was much above her years. In spite of her outstanding results, she took second place after singing ventriloquist Darcy Lynn. At the young age of 10, she became the youngest AGT runner-up in history. However, her narrative didn't end there. Instead, it was the start of her ascent to international fame. In addition to being a competition, her participation turned into a boon for the performance. A warning to AGT that talent and heart can overcome all obstacles from now on. Angelica's AGT journey has sparked a much wider cultural discussion regarding the emotional prominence of young voices in the media. According to Entertainment Tonight, she is a force of a tiny parcel of nature. But Billboard recalled how her performances provided depth and significance beyond her years. The degree to which she was able to have such a profound impact on audiences at such early on began to challenge the preconceived notions about these children's artistic and emotional abilities in talent contests. Get back on AGT. The return of Angelica Hale to the America's Got Talent stage for AGT, the champions in 2019, was a calculated and symbolic action. She returned to the spotlight at the age of 11, this time with greater maturity. With a vocal command that is much more powerful than it was during her tenure in Season 12. AGT, the gathering of champions, world-renowned performers, winners, finalists, and standout talents, and Angelica's invitation alone demonstrated her enduring influence. For a lot of spectators, her return seemed like a homecoming, and social media was ablaze with enthusiasm when she returned. Angelica's choice for her comeback performance was Fight Song by Rachel Platten, an anthem of resilience and empowerment that mirrored her own experience. Her performance brought the judge when Howie Mandel stood up and touched the golden buzzer. She was thrown directly into the championship game. Angelica became the first competitor in AGT history to be awarded the golden buzzer twice, a unique and impressive accomplishment. Mandel commended her for much than just her vocal prowess, but for her unquestionable fight and spirit, establishing her as one of the most entertaining characters on the show. Legendary entertainers. During Chantel's encore performance of Impossible, Angelica took the stage. A fiercely emotional song that allowed her to demonstrate the depth and mastery of her emotions. Believe that since her first run, she had grown. The applaudable standing ovations came from the judges, who fought back tears as they attempted to explain how she was able to use singing to express such profound suffering and optimism. However, what much more intrigued her was how her performance created a lasting impression and expanded her following base. Globally, Angelica's comeback was unique for reasons other than her fame. A creative person with Angelica kept her humility from her early years, which struck a strong chord with the admirers. Her development as an artist was confirmed during the Champions run, since she demonstrated that she was no longer regarded as a kid prodigy but rather as a complete performer on par with the world's top performers. She became even more of a serious artist as a result of the publicity, almost transcending reality competition and entering the realm of long-term superstardom. Another noteworthy aspect of Angelica's return was her realization that this time, the platform might be used to quietly rebrand her whole persona, not only through presentation as opposed to performance. Through her styling, she exuded a more refined, adult appearance and stage presence to reflect her gradual development as a young performer. Both fans and critics pointed up her development on both an emotional and professional level, with numerous remarks mentioning that Angelica had a different voice. She was seen by media publications as a rising star who may inspire young performers in the spotlight, asserting that her debut on AGT, The Champions, was graceful. It was a relaunch, not just a reunion. Key performances and media engagements. Angelica's life after AGT has been filled with well-known appearances, indicating her transformation from TV contestant to well-known singer. One of her first notable made appearances in the U.S. She sang America the Beautiful during the 2015 Open Men's Semifinals at Arthur Ashe Stadium in front of thousands of people. She was first seen by a national audience during her performance outside of the AGT audience, and proved she could perform brilliantly on large stages. She was asked to sing the national anthem at the event, adding to her growing list of notable appearances. A number of NFL games, including one at Mercedes-Benz between the Dallas Cowboys and Atlanta Falcons Stadium in Atlanta, where she was born. Additionally, she wowed the crowd with her poise at Heinz Field during the Pittsburgh Steelers vs. Baltimore Ravens game, as well as vocal power. Through these encounters, she was able to reach new audiences and demonstrate her capacity to cope with the demands of live performances at significant televised events. November 2017, one of the featured performers during the 91st Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade was Angelica. She sang Girl on Fire by Alicia Keys on the float for Sprout. The nationally broadcast occasion provided her with yet another significant chance to showcase her talent, which she took full use of, turning into one of the notable performers in that year's parade. At about the same period, she also made an appearance on Steve Harvey's Little Big Shots and stunned the crowd with a stunning performance of "I'll Be There," making a name for herself as a young celebrity with a sensitive, mature voice. Angelica appeared on America's Got Talent Live to wrap up her hectic year. Take a tour with other competitors in Season 12. The tour visited several cities and provided an excellent chance for her to obtain expertise giving regular performances in front of large live audiences. The shows were beneficial. Develop endurance, improve her live performance abilities, and strengthen her relationship with her followers. Overall, these high-profile engagements solidified her reputation as a dynamic young actress in high demand and greatly aided in her development. As Angelica's global footprint expands, it thereby increasing her chances of working with others on projects that aren't just performance-related, but also in youth empowerment conferences and cross-cultural projects. In 2021, she shared her experiences and stories as a performer as well as a performer in virtual panels and live streams throughout the world that focused on youth resilience and creative expression. A youthful advocate and survivor. These venues gave Angelica the chance to get to know with fan groups and worldwide youth organizations across North America, Europe, and Asia. Being able to share her experience in various contexts and inspire other youth to go after their goals in spite of obstacles put her in a situation where she was more than just a vocalist. She became a self-made worldwide young role model who tries to use her voice in a variety of ways. However, Angelica was far from finished entertaining audiences. Larger than she had ever thought. Tours and international exposure. The real shift from national talent to international performer for Angelica Hale started in 2019 when she was a special guest on the TNT Boys Listen, the World Tour. The Filipino boy band had already amassed a sizable fan base, and her